It was the summer of 2017, and I thought I had landed the easiest job of my life. I was 22 years old, home from college, and broke. My uncle managed a large indoor aquatic center in upstate New York, the kind of place with Olympic-sized lanes, a diving well, and a separate leisure pool with those long, dark water slides. He offered me the overnight shift, just me, a mop, a chemical test kit, and the silence. From 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I was the only person in a building that held over 500,000 gallons of water. My job was simple: walk the perimeter every hour, check the pH levels, and make sure the pumps didn't fail. On paper, it was peaceful. In reality, it was the most terrifying experience of my life. The first few nights were fine, eerie, but fine. You get used to the sound of the filtration system humming beneath the floor. You get used to the way the emergency lights make the water look like black glass. But by night 4, I started noticing things I couldn't explain. It was 2:15 a.m. I was sitting in the lifeguard office, a glass box overlooking the main pool. I had headphones in, listening to a podcast, when I felt it. A vibration, not from the machinery, from the floor. I pulled out my earbuds, and that's when I heard the splash. I froze. It wasn't a drip from a leaky pipe. It was a single, deliberate splash, like someone had jumped in from the diving board and landed flat on their back. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out onto the pool deck. The air was thick with chlorine and cold humidity. I swept the light across the surface. Nothing, just the faint ripples spreading outward from the diving well. I told myself it was air bubbles from the filter, a trick of the acoustics. I finished my rounds and went back to the office. But at 3 a.m., I heard footsteps, wet, slapping footsteps, coming from the hallway that led to the locker rooms. My heart started hammering. I stood up slowly and peered out the window. The hallway was dark, but the floor was wet. A trail of footprints, bare feet, led from the women's locker room toward the pool. I called my uncle. No answer. I called the non-emergency police line. They said they'd send a car in 20 minutes. I decided to check the locker room myself. Stupid, I know. But I had to know if someone was hiding in there. I pushed the door open. The smell hit me first. Not chlorine, but rot, like stagnant pond water left in the sun. The lights flickered once, twice, then died completely. I was left with my flashlight beam cutting through the dark. The showers were running, all of them. Water pouring out of 10 shower heads, even though I knew the main water valve was locked in the off position. I turned to leave, and that's when I saw her, a woman, standing at the far end of the row of lockers. She was soaking wet, wearing a faded one-piece swimsuit, the kind from the 1980s. Her head was tilted at an unnatural angle. Her skin was gray, almost translucent, and she was smiling, not a friendly smile, the smile of someone who has been waiting a very long time. She whispered one word, not with her mouth, inside my head. She whispered, "Dive." I ran. I sprinted across the pool deck, slipped on the wet tiles, and crashed into the lane ropes. The water was freezing. I scrambled to the edge, pulled myself out, and didn't stop running until I was in my truck in the parking lot. The police arrived 20 minutes later. They found nothing. No woman. No wet footprints. The locker room floor was bone dry, and the showers were off. But my uncle called me the next morning. He sounded strange, quiet. He said, "You saw her, didn't you? The woman in the gray suit." I asked him how he knew. He told me that in 1989, a competitive swimmer named Laura drowned in that diving well during a night practice. She hit her head on the bottom. They never found her body until 3 days later. She was trapped under the filter grate. I quit that job the same day. But sometimes, when I'm lying in bed at 3 a.m., I hear a splash, and I feel a whisper in my skull. Dive. My name is Mark, and this happened 3 years ago, but I still can't look at a swimming pool without my hands shaking. I was a real estate photographer in Central Florida. You know the deal. Hot, humid, and every other house has a backyard pool. Most of them were empty, cracked, or full of green sludge. But one job changed me permanently. It was a foreclosure on Cypress Lane, a 2-story colonial with a screened-in pool enclosure out back. The listing agent told me the previous owners left in a hurry, didn't pack, just vanished one night. Their mail was still on the counter. Their car was still in the garage. I arrived at 4 p.m. The sun was starting to dip, but Florida heat doesn't care. I let myself in with the lockbox code. The house smelled musty, but not abandoned. It smelled like someone had just stepped out for a minute. Dishes in the sink, a half-empty glass of orange juice on the nightstand. I took my photos upstairs first. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, everything normal. Then I went downstairs to the living room, which had sliding glass doors leading to the pool enclosure. The pool was empty, completely drained, but the walls of the pool were covered in something dark. I leaned closer. It was handprints, hundreds of handprints, small ones, like a child's, but they were on the inside of the pool, as if someone had been trapped down there, clawing to get out. I felt a chill in the Florida heat. I decided to finish the job fast. I set up my wide-angle lens and started shooting the backyard. That's when my camera battery died. Weird. It was fully charged 10 minutes ago. I swapped it with a fresh one. That battery was dead too. Then I heard it. A low gurgle. Coming from the pool drain at the bottom of the empty pool. I walked to the edge and looked down. The drain cover was missing, and inside the pipe, I saw 2 small, pale fingers curled around the edge. A child's voice echoed up from the pipe. It said, "It's cold down here. Will you come play?" I stumbled backward, tripped over a lounge chair, and landed hard on the concrete. When I looked up, the pool wasn't empty anymore. It was filling with dark, murky water, rising fast. In 10 seconds, it was half full. In 20, it overflowed onto the deck, soaking my shoes. The water was ice cold, and beneath the surface, I saw shapes moving. Not fish, human shapes, dozens of them, circling. The sliding glass door behind me slammed shut, locked. I couldn't open it. I ran to the side gate, locked. I climbed the screen enclosure, tearing through the mesh, and dropped into the neighbor's yard. I didn't look back. I called the police. They sent an officer. When he arrived, the pool was empty, bone dry. No handprints, no water on the deck. The sliding door was unlocked, but the officer's face went pale when he checked the property record. He told me that in 1992, a family of 5 lived there. One night, their youngest daughter, 6 years old, fell into the pool. Her older brother jumped in to save her, then her sister, then the parents. One by one, they all drowned. The official report said it was a tragic accident, but the neighbors said they heard splashing and laughing for hours after the ambulance left. The house was sold 3 times after that. Each family left within 6 months. No one would say why. I finished my photography route the next day, but I never took another pool job, and I still wake up some nights to the sound of a child's voice, echoing up from my bathroom drain, asking if I want to play.